John, looking at the table, do you think, obviously the table doesn't lie, but in terms of the number of points that Sheffield United have won so far, do you think that is a false representation of what they can do?
Well, I think it has to be, governed by last season. Trying to find both ends of the pitch to work is always a manager's biggest challenge. I know it's such a simple statement. You've got to put it in one end and stop it going in the other. They haven't quite gone the right side of their margins, quite obviously. They're still working. Chris is a fellow I respect a lot, and I class him as a friend in football. And I share the odd message with him now and again, but they're still working. I've seen them. So we'll certainly know they're working, they're fighting, and they've still got some good players. So we're never naive enough to not respect teams, and we'll certainly be respecting Sheffield United.
I spoke to Chris this morning. He said that you'd had one or two phone calls, and he thought you were a great guy as far as football is concerned. How much sympathy do you have for him, given what he managed to achieve last year, but just doesn't seem to be able to do it this year?
Well, firstly, I think I'm a pretty good guy, not just about football. But anyway, thanks, Chris. No, look, I'm not going to start throwing words like sympathy about. That's not for football managers, in my opinion. Empathy, understanding, that's a different thing. But Chris, certainly, he doesn't want my sympathy, I can assure you. But I think it's fair that he'd like a bit of understanding from fellow managers. I certainly understand some of the challenges, that's for sure. So look, he'll bring his team to our place. He'll be wanting to win. All of our friendships, respect will go out the window for that 90-odd minutes, which it does. But then I can assure you, before and after, I'll be certainly speaking to him.
As you say, you've been in similar sorts of positions before when things have not been going right for you for a period of time. How hard is it to deal with as a manager when it's so frustrating? You know the side can do so much better than they have done.
I think it's harder for Chris because they were rightly so given so many points last season, and deservedly so. Ninth in the Premier League is some finish. So it's probably harder in the sense that you're trying to build a squad, you're trying to change things, but not go too far away from what you change. That's always a tricky one. And you're never quite sure what the next season will bring until it happens. And then all of a sudden they can't quite find the results they're looking for. As I said, they're still working. They're still definitely working. I saw the game last night. They're definitely putting a shift in to try and change things. And it is difficult. It is very difficult when your side's got on that strange kind of curve of not finding them wins. But he'll know, he's very experienced through many levels of football, and he'll know he has to keep them working, and he does himself and his staff. I'm sure he'll be looking to play their part as well. He's a good operator, in my opinion.
Thanks very much, Sean.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fraser. Shall we go back to Alex Vienna? Alex James, please.
Hey, Sean, just a couple from me. You've touched on Dwight and Robbie Brady, injury-wise. What about the other lads who are out at the moment, Vidra, Johan and Jack Cork?
Yeah, so I doubt any of them will figure. Vids has got just a nick on a muscle in his back, which I'm surprised it has taken a bit longer to settle than we hoped for. Cork is making very good progress, it must be said, but we've still got to make sure he comes back fully fit because he's been out a while, but he's making very good progress. Johan's just getting back to that freedom to go and play because he's had so many niggly injuries. We've deliberately made a decision with him to take him away from it, allow him more training time. He's getting more game time in the reserve games and to build up until he can just run out there more or less. I mean, I don't mean literally, obviously warm-ups and all that, but the point is have that mental freedom to know his body is 100% and he can just play free-flowing, sprint, recover, all the things that the game needs, as well as the technical side. So that's a slightly different scenario, but they're all making progress, that's for sure.
And how important are these? I know every game is important, the opportunity for 3 points in the Premier League, but looking ahead at these two home games coming up against Sheffield United and Fulham, how important are they, given that they give you the opportunity for 3 points and prevent those teams closing the gap on you as well?
Well, I've got to be honest, every game is, you certainly know that when we went into the run of the last 4 games, people were suggesting we might come away with it with no points, or certainly maybe a point or two. And we come out the last 4 games before today, obviously, with 8 points. So, every game's important. We never overlook the fact that you can beat anyone on your day. But we equally look for consistency. So we want a consistency of performance. We were slightly off first half today, without discrediting Leeds, because they were on their game, if you like. But second half, I thought we were excellent. So we've got to continue to build on that second half and take that into the next game.
That's all. That'll do for me. Thanks, Joel.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dan Black, please.
Hey again, Sean.
Hiya.
Do Sheffield United's struggles this season show how hard it is to kind of produce results consistently at this level?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, not just Sheffield United, but there've been a case that's quite obvious this season. I mean, look, I've said it all the time. Getting on the right side of the margins. You know, the superpower teams on their day, they can really win games. No game's comfortable, but you understand the train of thought. They've got enough power, enough presence on the pitch, enough quality that they can win games more comfortably, I would say. For ourselves, for many teams, including Sheffield United and other teams in the division, there's a number. It's hard, you have to get on the right side of the margins, and sometimes you're never that far away. I mean, I felt it today. We were 1-0 down at half time, and it was nothing to do with shapes or anything. We the details that we weren't producing in the first half, we had to add in. I felt that Leeds do suffer physically as a game wears on, which was obvious today, and ours don't. We have that real depth of physical presence, and we delivered that in the second half. So, like I say, the margins are tight, and yet we still didn't get on the right side of it. So, I think there's a number of teams, including ourselves, many in fact, that have to get their margins right, and it's getting them right more often than not. We've come into a spell when we are doing, and even today, I think I don't think it's about margins. Big decisions cost us today, along with bits of detail. But other games, you just got to get on the right side of the margins, and it sounds easy. It's not easy.
I know you know Chris quite well. Have you been in touch with him recently?
Yeah, only pleasantries, really. What we speak about will stay between us, but I think he's a really good guy. I like the way he operates, both on and off the pitch, away from football as well. And obviously, I'll not be wishing him well for our game against them, but around that time and afterwards, certainly before and after, there'll be certainly some pleasantries around that. But him like me, they want to win, we want to win. So that 90-odd minutes, whatever it is, all of that goes out the window.